Good morning, everybody. I'm Tom Whitestone, the Associate Athletic Director for Media Relations with the Charlotte 49ers. And on behalf of the university, the athletic department, and the football program, I'd like to welcome you all to today's press conference. A couple of notes that we want to go over before we get started. At the end of today's presentation, we will take questions from the media in attendance. We do have wireless mics available, so please wait for the wireless mics before you ask your questions. Afterwards, we will also have some photo ops over by our backdrop to my right, and we'll do that at the conclusion of the press conference. With that said, I'd like to begin our press conference. It's my pleasure to introduce to the stage our Chancellor, Dr. Sharon Gaber.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is exciting. So I want to welcome you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us on this special day. We are here to introduce a new leader to our Niner family, one who can take our program to the next level. And since this is Thanksgiving week, I'm going to start with a few thank yous. First, I want to thank our football student athletes, staff, coaches, with special gratitude to interim head coach Pete Rosamondo for performing a difficult task with professionalism, skill, and grace. I also want to recognize we do have a couple of our Board of Trustee members here in attendance today, and I know that Dennis Bunker and John Bailey had indicated they were joining. There they are, right in front of me. Thank you. I'm looking out over the crowd. Thank you for being here. I also want to recognize our Director of Athletics, Mike Hill, and his staff for the countless hours over the past several weeks in leading this effort to bring us here for another exciting moment in the growth of our university. I want to recognize our alumni, our supporters, our fans who are here today and joining us via live stream to show their support. We are a university that is continuing to rise. Our new strategic plan sets a bold vision for us, a top-tier, globally recognized research university. The move to the American Athletic Conference this next year illustrates this as well. We recognize the significance of having a successful athletics program and the importance to the quality of the experience that we offer our students. Our ability to compete with class and distinction in football sets the bar for our athletics program and has an incredible impact on the quality of campus life. So in a moment, we'll introduce our new football coach. In the short time that I've had the opportunity to visit with him, I believe we found an outstanding coach. More than that, I believe we found someone who shares our values both on and off the field. And I think you'll find his story as exceptional as we have. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our Director of Athletics, Mike Hill.
Thank you, Chancellor Gaber, and to all of you who are gathered here today to celebrate this really fantastic opportunity for our university and for our program. You know, I do want to take just a moment as well to echo the Chancellor's remarks and to thank those in leadership positions here at this institution. We're very blessed here at Charlotte to have Chancellor Gaber leading our university, and also a very strong Board of Trustees led by our Chair Susan DeVore, and also certainly Dennis Bunker and all of our board members. We have great alignment on this campus, and that gives us a chance to have success, and I know that was really important when we spoke to Coach Poggi for the first time. It gives you a chance to have championship level excellence when you have that alignment, so very grateful for that. I also do want to take this time to recognize again our football team. This has been a very challenging time. It always is when you go through a transition. And so I'm very proud of how these young men have represented our program and how our staff has carried themselves, especially under the leadership of Coach Rosamondo. Pete absolutely has done a stellar job leading our program through very difficult times because he and the staff love these guys. They care about these young men. And it showed with a win on Senior Day this past Saturday. Pete will always have a fan in me. That guy is a great coach. He'll be a head coach again one day, and he should be. because of the way he led this program. So always have a fan in me for sure. I also want to take just a moment to recognize my wife here, Jessica James Hill. The wife of an athletics director during these coaches searches has to hold it down. So I'm grateful to Jess for all she has done for our family and our home as we kind of grinded through a really interesting and difficult stretch this fall. And to our executive staff, I'm so grateful for them. We have an amazing team of leaders here who have participated and helped us get to this moment here today. And it's not just one person. It's certainly not the AD alone, just like I think Coach Poggi would tell you. You know, if he doesn't surround himself with great people, he's not going to have success. And the same is true for me as an athletics director. So I'm grateful to our staff. I want to acknowledge Turnkey, who helped us lead this search, and in particular, Chad Chatlos. Chad I've known for a long time as a former football player himself at the Naval Academy, and Chad did a phenomenal job leading this search with us and for us, and so grateful for Chad and his team and all the work that they put into this. You know, when we set out on this process, we really identified not necessarily what this coach would look like, but what were the characteristics that this coach should have, right? And so the first thing that was most important to us was we find someone who's a great leader of young men. Somebody who's a person of high character and who understands what it takes to lead young men during this important part of their lives. Secondly, we wanted to identify someone who is a great recruiter and a developer of talent. And Coach Poggi has done that his entire career in spades. Someone who has demonstrated a consistent a consistent level of competitive excellence across the course of his career. And if you look at what he's accomplished throughout the course of his career in high school and in college, just a remarkable record, not just on the field, but also off the field, and how he has changed young men's lives. And then lastly, someone who has the executive skills to understand how to build and run a football organization. These are complex operations, and it requires someone who understands what it takes to build the right culture and has a network of people who they can plug into to hire and bring on board to be able to develop that staff. And so Biff checked all of those boxes for sure. I will tell you that we had an outstanding pool of candidates. And I think that's a tribute to this institution, to this university. I think that everybody recognizes the growth of this university. The second largest undergrad enrollment in the state, the fastest growing school in the state, 30,000 students in a city that is absolutely booming. Charlotte is a very attractive place to live and to work and certainly to recruit. And then I think, the move to the American Athletic Conference has also clearly been very impactful as we went through this search. So those were all attractive qualities for our candidates as we work through this. But in the end, the man that rose to the top is the man we're going to introduce here today in just a moment, Biff Poggi. And his story is remarkable. Biff grew up in Baltimore, in Little Italy, and ended up playing football at the Gilman School. He was scholarshiped to play at the Gilman School. And I know that has driven him his whole life to be able to use football and the opportunity to give back to young men. And that's really what his why is, and that impressed us as we talked through this whole process. But he played football at high school, was successful enough that he got a chance to go to the University of Pittsburgh and play alongside Dan Marino. You might have heard of him. Played with Dan Marino, and then he ended up transferring to Duke, where he got his degree from Duke University. And when he completed his degree work, he got into college coaching, and he had stops at Brown, at Temple, and also at the Citadel. He ultimately went back into high school, though, to coach in high school, where he ultimately was an assistant and then became the head coach at his alma mater, the Gilman School. And in 19 seasons at the Gilman School, he won 13 championships. That's a pretty good record. We'll take that, Coach. We like that. Unbelievable success there, right? Well, back in 2016, he was invited by Jim Harbaugh, the University of Michigan, to join their staff. And so he went up to Ann Arbor, and they had a fantastic season. The Wolverines went to the Orange Bowl, I believe, that season, and had a great year and had a tremendous experience. But I think, high school came calling again for him, and really Baltimore and the opportunity to try to help some young men in need. And so he came back to Baltimore and became the head coach and the leader of the St. Francis Academy, which was a program that really was, frankly, broken, a very poor school, and invested himself personally in a way that is uncommon, and transformed that program into a national power, was playing games on ESPN, and was ranked in the top 5 of USA Today. So a remarkable impact there, producing young men who went on to play football at schools like Alabama, Notre Dame, Michigan, LSU, Tennessee, some pretty impressive company, okay? And not to mention the fact that these young men were graduating and going on to college. So just an amazing impact he's made on the lives of these young men. Well, Michigan came calling again and said, hey, you know, we liked you so much the first time, we really want you back. And Coach Harbaugh invited Coach Poggi back to Ann Arbor, where he helped lead the program over the past 2 years to a 23-2 record. The first ever college football playoff appearance a year ago, including a win at the end of the year over Ohio State and on to the Big Ten championship, where they clinched that championship. And this year, they are currently 11-0. Going into the big game again this weekend in Columbus and competing, you know, again for a Big Ten championship and an opportunity perhaps to get into the college football playoff. So to a person, the people at Michigan rave about this man's ability to build, to motivate, to lead. He's the associate head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, and now he is our head coach, the Charlotte 49ers. Please join me in welcoming Biff Poggi.
Well, thank you, Chancellor Gaber. Thank you, Mike. That's a hard act to follow right there, Mike. But I want to tell you that I want to thank you both for giving me an opportunity. It took guts. It's a little bit outside the box, and I thank you very much for it. I am so excited. Amy and I are so excited to be here, and so are our children and grandchildren. We can't wait to get started. And I am a glass 10/8 full guy, so I like it running over. And there's so many things that impressed me about this program. Well, the people that I've met, the chancellor, the athletic director, so many other people. But the university is really, it's dynamic. And when I did my research into the university, it's a research powerhouse. I love that for so many reasons. So good for the community, so good for attracting a really top-notch intellectual talent, which trickles down to students, trickles down to our football team. It is just a great, I think every great community has to have a great academic institution, especially if you have a research institution, you are ahead of the game. And believe me, that will help us reach our goals. The fact that quickly moving into the AAC conference is really important. It is an unbelievable conference. It is the best group of 5 conference in the country, and there's no doubt about that. And the people that win that are going to be playing in the CFP. You're going to get a bid. Cincinnati got a bid last year, and as this thing expands to 12 teams in 2 years, you're going to have 6 automatic bids, and then the AAC is going to be the 6th of those bids. So it's a very exciting opportunity. Charlotte is a great place to recruit from. Another thing I really liked was it is, I have a bit of a business background. It is the 2nd largest city behind New York City of Fortune 500 headquartered domiciled companies. I know a few of those guys. We're going to make some visits to those guys. You know, because it does take a village, right? It takes a village to be what we want. And I will say this. I want to talk to you about our players. I had a chance to spend a lot of time yesterday with our players. But before I do that, I want to kind of tie up the Michigan thing, because I am committed there until we're done playing. I wouldn't leave Jim and those kids, and I know that you all respect that. But I want to thank Jim Harbaugh, because he's my best friend, first of all. And secondly, he gave me a chance. And we've done some pretty cool stuff together. And as he said to me when I was walking out the door, he said, hey, let's have Michigan and Charlotte working together hand in hand. And so we're going to do some cool stuff with Michigan down here with camps and recruiting camps and clinics and all kinds of things. So thank you, Jim. Thank you to the players at Michigan. I love those kids so much. Without their diligence, I wouldn't be here. And then I want to tell you about the kids I met here last night. What a great group of people. I think we started meeting at 4, and I think I got back to the hotel at like 11:45 or something. And I could have stayed there all day and night and day and night. And as a matter of fact, I'm very happy to be at this event. Looking forward to meeting and greeting everyone, and then I can't wait to get back over there because we've got a whole line of guys that want to meet again. So very excited about that. One of the things we discussed with the players yesterday was our goals. And our goals for the program are holistic. There's 2 types of football coaches, and there's only 2. And by the way, I think you'll like this definition of the word coach, why they call people coaches. Comes from the 1100s, and it was what we would consider a carriage now, and that was called a coach. And the carriage would take a player or a person from where they were in their lives now to where they wanted to go. Not where the carriage wanted to go, but where the person wanted to go. And that type of coach is a transformational coach. That is a coach that helps young people reach the station in their life that they want to reach and gets them on a trajectory to do that. A transactional coach, and unfortunately there's lots of these in the world, is someone that takes that person where the coach wants them to go. The next contract, the next publicity thing, the next job. We're not doing that here. We're not hiring that way here. We're going to surround ourselves with really, really great people. And our job, as I told the players yesterday, my job, my number one job, is to love them. And their job is to love each other. And that's how we're going to build our culture, through authentic relationships. We are going to start telling each other the truth all the time, the things we hold deep in ourselves that we're afraid to tell anybody because we're afraid how they may react. We're going to build our culture on that, because when you do that, you have a team, and a team is simply this. It is a series of authentic relationships where the members have a common goal. And our common goal is to be really good people. We're going to be great students. We're going to treat people great on this campus. We are going to have very high character. We're going to learn to be on time, which means 10 minutes early. We're going to learn to work really hard when we do something, and we're going to do the little things. And if you do the little things, the big things take care of themselves, and that is true. And ultimately, coaches don't win games. Players do. So we are investing in our staff to bring in the best group of men and teachers and coaches that we can. And when these people are announced, many of them are still under contract, so we're keeping a little bit, under the radar. When that is announced, you're going to be, I think, very impressed with who you see coming in here. Our goal is very simple. We want to win the AAC, and we want to win it repeatedly, and we want to get to the college football playoff. That's why I left Michigan, and that's what I'm expecting to do here. And you should be asking, what's your timetable? And my timetable is now. Now. We have 285 days. We had 86 when we met yesterday to do the little things to get where we need to go. And this is not we're not rebuilding. We are, I'll say, reshaping, and I expect us to be highly competitive in the fall. And that's our goals. And our kids last night were locked on. Mike was in the meeting. I think that's pretty accurate, right, Mike? Totally locked on, excited. I had, from the team, and there's probably 100 or so guys in the room. Last night I had 230 messages, which means they were messaging me more than once. So I didn't get much sleep last night because I hit them all back. And there's just a good feel over there. There's a good feel over there. And a good bunch of kids, and we'll get it right. That's our job, is to get it right. And we'll get it right, we'll get it right quickly. So with that being said, I'll take any questions for anybody that would like to ask me any.
We can also bring Mike back up as well to
Great.
take some questions. And I'll let you handle the mic. But we'll take our first question from Hunter. Excuse me, you can go to this.
This is for Biff. Hunter Baylor with the Charlotte Observer. When you look across college football now, the NIL landscape has really changed the game. And then when you look across the Charlotte 49ers roster, you see not many deals, it's few and far between, and a lot of players promoting themselves with shirts, hoodies, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan in terms of bringing NIL to the Charlotte 49ers program and for the student athletes?
Good question. NIL is, for better or worse, it's reality. And we have to deal in reality. And by the way, some of the kids brought that up last night. That was part of some of the questions that they had. I have a business background. I know a lot of people. I know how things get done. And I fully expect us to participate in NIL. We're going to develop an NIL program here. But it's going to be different. There's not going to be NIL to entice people to come to this school. You're going to come to this school because you want to come to this school. You want to be a part of this university. You want to be a part of our program. Now, once you're a part of the program, if you're doing the right things, flying straight and all those kind of things, we're going to work on NIL. I'd like to have a collective, okay? I'd like to develop a collective where every kid on the team gets something. Because what I heard last night was we have a lot of kids who financially struggle, their families struggle. And what I was told last night is, after the scholarship checks, stipend goes out, they pay their rent, they do all that stuff, and they like to send some money home to their moms. And they don't have much after that. So we're going to do something that, I'm not talking about, guys wearing, Louis Vuitton bags and stuff like that. I'm talking about, sensible things. So they feel secure and taken care of and they can do what they want to do. But then there's a market after that. So that's the collective. But then there's a market after that. And if you're a really good player, then you're going to get an NIL agent. And that NIL agent is going to spend time working for you to put together NIL packages. Now, it's a free marketplace. So in a marketplace, if you're not playing well or you're not ultra productive, then some company is not going to want you to represent them with your name, image, and likeness. If you are, then we're going to make sure that happens. Answer your question? Okay, thanks.
Nick Carboni.
Biff, Nick Carboni here in the middle, right here.
Hey.
Welcome. Given your background as a high school coach, longtime high school coach, what did you learn about the recruiting process from that perspective that you can now apply to your job now? And what are some of your early recruiting goals here?
Well, what did I learn in the process? I learned that recruiting is a double-edged sword. You need to tell people the truth in recruiting all the time. And as a high school coach, the one thing you don't like is when a college guy comes in and promises your kid something and then backs out of it. Or it says, your player is going to get this kind of education and do this, have these opportunities, and you don't have them. So it's really important to be upfront. It's really important recruiting is all about relationships. It's really important to have authentic relationships with the high school coaches, the players, and their parents. I love recruiting. Okay, I love recruiting. I actually was working on recruiting last night, late into the evening. Now, as far as my goals here are to attract the best players that are the best fit for what we're trying to do, for this university and what we're trying to do in a football program. And I think this, The portal has changed recruiting. It is a different animal. And we'll lose some guys, I'm sure, here. That's just the way it happens every year at every school. But we're going to replace whoever we lose, and then we're going to go through the roster, and we're going to find out where we need people to compete and win the AAC. And then we're going to go out and get them. And one of our advantages right now is that it hasn't been too terribly long since I was the coach at a very successful high school program. And I have a lot of youngsters that Amy and I raised who are at really good places. And if they choose to get in the portal, then we're going to talk to them. And so I think you're going to see a real upgrade in the roster in certain positions where we need it. Answer your question? Yeah.
Christian?
Right next to Nick, Christian Auditor, Queen City News, Charlotte Sports Live. First and foremost, you and Amy, welcome to Charlotte.
Thank you.
When this recruiting process started for you to come to Charlotte, from a football standpoint, what was the biggest factor in you coming here? And just a general outlook on what you think the biggest fix is for the 49ers here.
Okay. Well, I think I addressed a couple of the reasons why I wanted to come here. First of all, I really liked Mike. I do this visceral thing. It's been my whole thing, my whole life. It's not necessarily analytical. It's visceral, and I liked him right away. And he painted a great vision for where they wanted to, what Charlotte wanted to be. And look, this school's been playing football 10 years, and you're going into the AAC conference. That's unheard of. And you don't do that just by chance. You do that because the institution and the people that run it want to be excellent. They want all areas of the university to be excellent, and that's what I felt here. They did not think that excellence was a zero-sum game. If one part is excellent, it takes from the other part. They want it all to be excellent, as the chancellor said in her remarks. So that was really important to me. Fixes. We have fixes. We got some places to fix. We need to play better defensively in the back, and we will. I met with those kids last night in a position group meeting, and they all want to be really good. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to kind of holistically coach them up. So if you're playing defensive back here, you need to be able to draw the linebackers and the front. You have to know what everybody's doing. If you're going to play here, you got to be in the playbook, in the meetings. You have to be a student of the game. Because I don't know how you can play defensive back if you don't know what the linebackers are doing and you don't know what the front is doing. And so we're gonna teach them that. And we'll be better. We're going to do some portal work there probably too. But I want to see how these kids respond. Look, we were 130th out of 131 on defense. The last time I checked, you can't win games like that. So we're going to stop the run on defense. Our formula is really simple. We're going to stop the run on defense. We're going to make you one-dimensional, so you have to throw the football, and then we're going to light you up. We're going to come after you with all kinds of stuff. And offensively, there were some really good things offensively here. But we're going to play a pro-style defense and a pro-style offense. We're bringing a defense that we played at Michigan, which is a long-standing pro defense. It's what John Harbaugh runs at the Ravens, and it is so sound. It is proven, and it has answers, and the kids will love playing it. The other thing about it is, if they're good enough, they're going to be ready for camp when it comes time to get a shot to play at the next level. Offensively, we're going to run the football. Very simple. We are going to run the football downhill. We're going to run gap schemes. We're going to run power will be the basis of our run game. And then all kinds of power. A gap power, B gap power, C gap power, power O, counter. We're going to run the ball downhill. And when we do that, you're going to put the 7th and probably 8th man in the box. And then we're going to throw it over your head many times. So big explosive plays. That's what we're going to do. And special teams, I met with the special teams guys last night, hilarious. One's from South Africa, one's from Australia. It was like the United Nations. And those kids, we're going to be really good. We got to be good there because we got to be able to kick. And, a punt is not a bad thing in football, right? Because the offensive drive can end a couple ways. It can be points, it can be a turnover, or it can be a punt. And so we'll punt and play defense. We're going to play complementary football. And hope that answers your question.
Take one more here, and then we'll go into the back.
Gabe McDonald, also from Queen City News, Charlotte Sports Live. You mentioned the portal. What is going to be your main message to maybe re-recruit some of the guys already on the roster to keep them around?
My message was last night, our goals. Not an individual sport, it's a team sport. And if you're all about you, and it's all about you getting X number of touches or X number of balls, or that, this isn't going to be a great place for you. Our goal is to collectively, as a team, have the same goals, and that is to win our conference. And winning is a great seductive thing. And so if that doesn't make you want to stay, then the portal's great. And we'll get somebody that does want to stay, and we'll get who we need here. I want to be very honest with you. The one great thing at the University of Michigan is we don't have any prima donnas. Blake Corum, who I coached in high school, is going to win the Heisman. And he's the most selfless kid around. And that's what I want. I want guys that are talking about we and not I. And we'll get them. They're out there.
Eric in the back.
Eric Spanberg with the Business Journal, right here.
Hey.
Hey, how are you? Welcome. I'm curious, I think I heard you mention earlier that you have that business background, you know how to speak to the corporations in town. Besides money, which I'm assuming you and others will ask for, what else do you think the business community can do to strengthen your program?
Well, a lot of things. Money's certainly one of them. But look, we've got a bunch of guys who are going to be here in the summer. We want to turn their minds on to something that they will learn to love more than football. So we've got these fantastic corporations here. Bank of America, Nucor Steel, Lowe's. I mean, the list goes, Duke Power and Energy. The list goes on and on and on. I think internships are really important. Let's get our guys. I don't want them here all day. I want, they got to go to school, work out, and then they got a bunch of time. Let's get them over there for some internships. They may find out that they absolutely love finance or that they love the energy complex. So let's give them a shot to get out there and work. And that's a big way they can help. The other way they can help is by showing up. Come to the games. Come to the events. Stick around after we play. Shake hands with our players and get to know these guys. And that's what I hope we can do.
Scott Fowler over to the far left. Just pass it along.
Thank you. Scott Fowler from the Charlotte Observer. Can you explain a little bit more of your financial background and how you married that with being a football coach? That's an interesting dynamic.
Yes, I can. I was a football player and a coach, and I thought I would just do that forever. When my lovely wife told me that we were going to have our first child, there was no way that I was going to get up in the morning and leave the house before our baby woke up and come home after our baby was asleep. That doesn't sound like being a man for others, which we're going to try to do. So my father-in-law said to me, well, what are you going to do? You're married to my daughter and you're having a baby. And the last job you had, you made like, I'm not kidding you, not much, a few $1,000s. So I said, well, I'm a teaching coach in high school. I said, okay, go do that, see how long that lasts. And I did that, and I loved it. I taught European history, and I'm so old that back in those days, Soviet history, while there was still a Soviet Union. And I made $8,000, and I quickly learned that $8,000 with a baby was a tough gig. So he came back, which he knew he would have that opportunity to, and said he was a MIT Sloan Fellow and a fantastic businessman. And he started teaching me about some things that he was doing. And believe it or not, I took to it. And the first thing we did was kind of a derivative strategy with equities. And I know it doesn't look like derivative strategy with equities, but we were very successful, and that spread out to where we other people wanted to have us manage their money, and I started a hedge fund. Before that was known as an evil empire back then. It's just a structure. It's not some nefarious stuff going on, and we were real successful. And then a while ago, we had done so well that we kind of what usually happens in these kind of things is we gave our investors their money back. They had done incredibly well. And now it's just a family office run by guys that I poached off of Wall Street, who actually played football for me at Gilman and came, their first jobs were with me in the summer at Gilman. They went on to big firms at Wall Street and Columbia Business School's guys, and that's what they do. And right now in the business, my involvement is zero, and they are happy about it, and so am I. So, answer your question? Yeah.
We have John, way back.
John, WCCB, Charlotte.
Where are you? Okay, gotcha, right.
You've lived a long and diverse football life without being an FBS head coach. Is this something you always wanted to do, or is this, at this point in your life, a bit of a surprise?
No, it's something I always wanted to do. But it had to be the right place and the right time. And last year I had some offers, and this year I've had a bunch of offers at big schools, Power 5 schools. But this is the most exciting place in the country to me. I'm not kidding. And I'll tell you, when I tell people that I'm coming to Charlotte, this is the phrase. I bet 90% of the guys in football land say, that is a gold mine. And that's what I like to build things. I like taking things over that are kind of in my business world and also my football career, things that are broken and nascent, and build them. And that's what we're going to do here. And the opportunity here is off the charts.
Have another one in the back.
Biff, Mike Solarte here, Spectrum News 1 right in the middle. Good to see you. Welcome to Charlotte.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you're with Michigan through the duration of their season.
Yes.
How do you split the duties with the Wolverines and the build that you have undertaken here?
Well, the first thing is starting to hire really quality staff, which we've started. And then I work a lot of hours. Dear Amy's in bed sleeping, and I've got my phone out, and I'm texting players, coaches, recruits, commits. It's two full-time jobs. Jim has been great with me at Michigan, though. He's allowed me to back off a little bit, a lot, actually. And so I have time. He's given me time during the day and to do that. And so I would say this. We're not ahead of schedule, but we're not behind either.
Question down here towards the front.
Hi.
Hey, Coach. Ashley Mahoney with Axios. Back to the row that keeps on giving. So obviously, building the program beyond year 10 and taking it to new heights is part of the role. But behind you is part of the 12, 15-year facility expansion, which will include doubling the stadium in size. What will your role be in terms of that evergreen athletics plan?
First of all, that's a really exciting plan. It's a really exciting plan. And I tell you, Amy and I Chris Thomason took us on a little tour when we got here yesterday, and we were blown away by the campus. It is beautiful. Jim Harbaugh said to me, he goes, "Have you ever been there?" I'm like, "No." He said, "I was there for a camp a number of years ago." He said, "The facilities are going to blow you away." And I was like, yeah. And guess what? They blew me away. So my role in this is going to be whatever these two people want me to be, and I'm ready to roll. So I want to make that a reality. The stadium should be doubled. There should be an indoor facility. There should be support for all other athletic teams who have fantastic facilities already. I mean, I couldn't believe the soccer stadium, soccer and track was unbelievable. I mean, it's just tennis facility is incredible. So, again, excellence in all areas, right? And that's what I love. That's what I loved about the vision, and that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to go out and press the flesh and pressure and gently, but try to get it done. Yeah, we'll get it done. Said by a smile from the fundraiser over here, the development person. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions at this time? Seeing none, thank you. We will take Coach and Mike and Chancellor over to the backdrop for a couple photo ops over there and do some interviews there as well. But on behalf of the 49ers, again, thank you all for your attendance at today's press conference.
Thank you all for coming. Thanks.